Alright, so I'm gonna go down the elevator. Got this nice little animation of the city descending, which I think is the only time you see it. It's interesting. I'm pretty sure these are unique assets that only appear for this one mission. Either way, I really appreciate that. Get this little moment of quiet reflection in between our murder spree. Speaking of murder spree, let's finish this one off. Hello and welcome to Harvard Plays. This week we are looking at Shinyo's next game, which is Arrest of a Stone Buddha. It's the follow-up to the Friends of Ringo Ishikawa that we looked at last week, and I think this is going to be just a bit of a shorter episode because this is more of an experience, right? This is something that I think works a lot better with the player themselves seeing how it goes, and there's only so much that I could show that's going to be useful as a, I guess, as Let's Play content, let's say it that way. But what I will do is I will quickly go through the combat and the exploration, because I think having a good grasp of that might alleviate some frustration that some people might feel. Okay, so this game offers you an easy mode. If you're not really a person who plays action games, or if you're not a person with fast reflexes, I would say pick yes, because the narrative of this game is quite significant regardless of how you like your games. I'm going to press no just to get the experience that would fit best for me. It's a calendar and it's 1976 in France. You get to pick a date, and as a little genius bonus, if you just turn your screen to the side, you can see actually there's two books being referenced here. There is The Stranger by Albert Camus, and there is, I think it's called Home Royale. I'll need to double check what that is. But yes, and then there's an ashtray, so it's a very literary game. It's got its references very cut and clear. Okay, just to make sure I didn't accidentally unplug my microphone by doing that. Let's go. Let's pick a random date. Let's go for the 27th, because today is the 27th as I am recording it. And so we jump back a little bit into time. We go to the 2nd of November, and we start in a church, a really well drawn church. We've got a gun in our hand, and we come up to this guy who's kind of kneeling there. You can hold R to aim, which brings out your gun, and then you press A to shoot. Now, you can do this from whatever distance you like. You can be execution style, you can kind of run up to it. I shouldn't make a joke about this. Anyways, that's your job. You are an assassin, and you must clean up, so to speak. I'm going to quickly pause because I just realized my face is going to be in the way. There's going to be enemies coming from the left and right, and I want to see them as clearly as I can. Alright, so whoops. I feel like this is a recurring theme that I accidentally restart these games a lot. Okay, whatever. Let's do it again. Okay, we jump back to 21st of October this time. Let's be quick, let's not mess around, you know, let's give ourselves some distance before we start the escape. Okay, so this is as far as we need to be, and now let's get going. Music starts as you assassinate your target, by the way, which is real good vibes. You press B to take away a gun, and you hold up to wrestle it out of the person. And so this is the game. This is just like any John Woo action movie. You want to take on as many enemies as you can, stay alive, and get the heck out of this place. The rhythm so far is pretty clear. It's not too hard to figure out what to do, but you'll notice that there's no health bar, there's no There's no indication of if you're safe or not, and so this is the kind of thing that needs a bit of explanation. Let's start here. If we can't see. Okay, so we'll see here. There's two guys on the screen, right? There is one guy who's running at me, and one guy who's got his gun out. The second they take their gun out, that means that they can shoot at you, and you'll hear that as a sound. And if you realize you're being shot at, you have the chance to just take the hit and immediately die. You have to restart the screen, and it's pretty frustrating. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that whenever a character takes their gun out, they are taken care of as quickly as you can. And if a character is in melee range, then you should always use your B and up to take their gun, because that's going to give you ammo to keep going. Otherwise, you will run out. Alright, and the game is really all about juggling the need to balance your ammo and to make sure you don't get hit by any of these guys. So most enemies will wait for a second before taking their gun out, and that'll give you just enough time to deal with them before they are able to hurt you. Alright. I'm not playing very skillfully here because, yeah, there you go. It's tough. It requires a lot of concentration. I don't know how well I can talk and play at the same time. But yeah, just get used to the rhythm. You can walk forwards as you shoot, but you can't, or you stop moving the second you fire, which means that you want to balance your movement with your gunplay. And then of course you can shoot behind you, in front of you, whatever you want. But remember, you want to prioritize your movement over your shooting. You don't want to spend your entire time killing enemies, because your ultimate goal is to get out of the screen. Enemies are going to keep appearing over and over again regardless of what you do. So you've got to be able to balance that. You'll see that I try to avoid shooting until the enemy takes their gun out and poses a threat to me. Because until then, there's no point, right? You're just slowing down your movement because you're being a bit too jittery. Gotta be a bit patient, because the enemies aren't really gonna hurt you until it's too late. Okay, this is the concentration run. This time I'm actually gonna pay attention. I'm not gonna talk. See? Not that hard. Just takes a bit of concentration, a bit of patience, and make sure that you're not jumping the gun, so to speak. You've got to know exactly what each of your movements are going to be and why. It says here to aim, to hold down to aim the shooting enemy. This lets you crouch a bit. That's lets you shoot behind enemies who are walking towards you, and it lets you get that sniper, like you just saw, without worrying about his friends that are in front of him. You don't always need to use that. You can always just shoot everyone. Sometimes it's easier, actually. You'll also see too that there's three types of enemies. There is the grey suit guy with pistols, there is the black suit guy with the shotgun, and there's the red suit guy who has the sniper. The red suit guy draws the gun really fast and kind of stays away from you. And the black suit and the grey suits will sometimes run into melee range before they pull their gun out. Now if they do that, you want to make sure you take their gun, because that's the only way to replenish ammo. You can't loot a body or whatever, you know, you can't just stop in the middle of this action. You've got to be active. Okay, so you really need to start seeing every enemy as potential ammo. They're an opportunity. You also get the choice of if you want to take primarily the pistols or primarily the shotguns. The pistols are good because you can dual wield them, so they give you more ammo overall, and they're also, I find, a bit quicker. Whereas what happens with the shotgun is it will kill enemies in a row, so it's a piercing attack. The problem is you can't dual wield them, so if you run out of ammo, then you're kind of screwed. You'll be in the middle of everything, and you won't be able to shoot anymore unless there just happens to be another enemy who's drawn their gun next to you. Okay, so just gotta be careful, don't be hasty, and make sure you get to the end of the screen. And then when you get to the last screen, it'll just be a getaway car somewhere for you. So you want to make sure that all the enemies straggling by are dead. It's still important to manage ammo, but there's usually not too many of them. You can stand still at this point, make sure they're all gone. It's taking a bit longer than usual this time. Okay, you can still run out, so don't be too cavalier. Do have some caution, because if you die on this screen, you still do have to restart. Okay, that's all of them. So now you want to find your getaway car. It's usually the nicest looking one. This one looks pretty nice. Okay, you get the arrow, you get in, and your mission is over. You have successfully assassinated your target. You have... I wish they count how many enemies you kill, but you've killed a lot of henchmen. And that's it. That's a day in the life of a hitman in the world of Arrest of a Stone Buddha. This is what the combat levels of this game are usually like. And once that's over, you get a bit of downtime. So here you have a conversation with your handler, effectively. This is the guy who gives you your assignments. So someone they both know called Lanky from the 2nd Regiment has died. Drag you for one whole click all the way to the chopper. So they've got some history, definitely. And you can see that the character that we play doesn't really have much personality or anything outside of his work. So you can see that he's really trying to push the conversation towards who's the next person I'm about to kill. He's also got insomnia, which manifests itself through the game. You get told to take some sleeping pills, and that's a veiled instruction as to how to advance time. Also, just want to give a shout out, how good are these backgrounds? They look really, really cool. And there are so many different places to experience them in this game. Sometimes in the missions themselves, they'll have really good backgrounds, but also the city too is just, it's really, really well done. The parallax scrolling here is on so many layers, it gives that sense of depth. It really kind of makes me wish that it was on the 3DS, so you can adjust the slider and make the front pop out. Alright, so now we've entered the main free roaming area. There's a lot of little shops here that you can go into and mess around in. I'll kind of leave most of these as a mystery, I guess. I don't remember if you need to buy sleeping pills on the first day, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Alright, so you hold up, talk to them. Why do we not? Okay, so I guess we have some. It's okay then. You can press R to emote, just like in Ringo. You can fold your arms, or you can put on some sunglasses. Doesn't really do anything, it's just a nice gesture. Alright, let's check out time. You press B to pull out your watch. It's 8:30, it's getting pretty late. I have... what do I want to do? Because the walking in this game is so slow, you'll get home at around 10, I think. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock now. It's very slow. I would show some of the open world stuff, but we'd need to wait. We'd need to wait until daytime. Here's a cinema. You can actually go down this street and see more of the world. There's a different street that way. Here's a cafe, which by this time, usually it's closed by now. Huh. It's still open, but while it's open, we might as well talk to our good friend the bartender. It's a really stylish blue vest there. Okay, so you can choose to get something strong, or to, like in Ringo, we're usually able to get cigarettes too, but maybe only we want something strong today. This doesn't really affect anything. You can drink as many of these as you want, and you don't get like a buff or a debuff or whatever. But the cool thing you can do is if you just move a step to the right, and then you just keep drinking more and more, the bartender actually lays out the glasses in front of you. He never washes them, and so you can have this row of empty drink glasses to mark your territory if that's what you really want. Okay, I think I'm just gonna leave with 2 though. Wow, it's midnight. That was fast. Some good jazzy free roam music while we're making our way downtown. And the door down from the cafe is your home. So you can go in through here. We can hold R, reach into our pocket, and take a pill to help us sleep. Otherwise, time doesn't advance. It's really strange. You can also do as many pull-ups as you want here. I know in Ringo last week, we could only do about 9 in a row. There's no restriction here. You can do literally infinite pull-ups. It's kind of embarrassing if you ask me, because I can't even do one. But yeah, let's just take our pill. And then if you're lucky, you can make it to the bed, but sometimes you just fade out without even getting to the bed. It's fine. You advance time. And just gives us another mission. We find ourselves actually straight at the scene of the crime, or the hit. I don't know if it's a crime or not. This time we have an interesting rifle. Or is that a shotgun? I don't know. Either way, we've done our job, and now we just need to run. It's a real lavish house that we found ourselves in. We got a good view of the city. Unfortunately, we need to spend the rest of this time just destroying some mooks. Alright. You really don't need to shoot unless you have to. So until the enemy takes their gun out, you can just keep going and you're safe. Your response time is really fast. You don't need to aim. It's all automatic. So you have all the time in the world, basically, to address these guys until they pull their guns out, at which point every second they stay alive is a risk to you. Alright, so I'm going to go down the elevator. Got this nice little animation of the city descending, which I think is the only time you see it. It's interesting. I'm pretty sure these are unique assets that only appear for this one mission. Either way, I really appreciate that. Get this little moment of quiet reflection in between our murder spree. Speaking of murder spree, let's finish this one off. You're gonna see some enemies appear from the left side of the screen. I don't really know where they come from, because there wasn't a path there, but hey, don't question the logic, right? If you really want, you can probably do some kind of reading of the game where these action segments are like imaginary or whatever. I personally don't like those theories in films very much. I feel like it's reductive to the story, but it's up to you. No one's really giving me the guns this time, so it's making my progress a bit slower than it normally would be. Oof. You want to be careful with those rifle enemies too, because they can shoot you from off screen, so don't walk off until you're sure they're dead. You might think you're clever by walking off the screen and thinking they just disappear, but they do not. Okay, we're making some pretty good headway here, but this is a bit of a notorious stage because it's very, very long. You'll see what I mean in just a sec. Okay, so we've got to go down these stairs. It's a neat trick that you can actually shoot the enemies while they're on the staircase. We are that good of an assassin. But it does mean it's hard because you can also be shot while you're on the staircase. And yeah, it's just difficult. Now I've got enemies coming from both floors. You've got to manage that really carefully, Because just as you can shoot them, they can shoot you. Okay. Making some pretty good progress here. You really, really don't want to die in this section because it's a long walk if you die. A long, long walk. Oh man, I'm gonna run out of ammo soon. No one is giving me stuff. Okay, there we go. Refilled. This is why you don't want to accidentally kill people that you could disarm instead, because you want that ammo. You really want it. For some reason, the assassin doesn't carry a lot of ammunition on himself, which is a bit of a shame, to be honest. I guess it's cost effective and it's less wasteful, but still. Would be safer for him if he did. I'm getting very lucky this mission. Okay, excuse me for not saying anything, I'm very stressed right now. Okay, we're good. I think this is the last screen. I think this is just the getaway car screen now. Okay, yep, there's a nice car. Just gotta hold out for a few more seconds and then we're home free. Oh, I have no... Oh. That was unfortunate. That was very unfortunate. Okay. So if you ever die, you just restart on that screen anyway. It's not a huge loss, unless it's a very long stage, like that previous one. We have to go down the staircase and then all the way around. That would have been tragic to die. But this one, not as bad. I'm pretty sure that the ammo counts in this game are consistent, so if you want to count in your head, you can keep track. I haven't been doing that because I've been lazy. Usually, as long as you disarm often, you won't have ammo issues. But if you're not careful, you can run out quite easily. Okay, I think that's everyone. Get in our nice car. Not as nice as last time though. And then we zoom off. Okay, it's the next day, October 25. And same thing as before, we're just having a conversation with our handler. Find out that our next job is at sea, which is interesting. He kind of suggests a vacation to us, which is interesting. But our protagonist isn't really... Yeah, he's really not having it right now. And so these conversations go through the entire game. They encourage you to think about your protagonist's motivations and, you know, what he's good at, what his life is like. You can interact with the city in a lot of different ways, which I'll quickly run through now, which shed a bit more light onto who this person is and how they see the world. I'm just going to quickly hop over to the cinema because it's daytime. It's pretty early. It's 4:50. He does walk very slow. And the interesting thing about that is that it just creates constraints for you as a player. You can't do everything, right? You've got to plan around where you're going to go. Let's see. Let's get a ticket for the next show. Tried everything that I could. I could not figure out how to buy popcorn. He just does not like popcorn. So, yep, that's it. That's that. Can hop into the cinema. And there's usually some people sitting around watching a show. You can also take a seat, but you don't watch anything. You don't see the film, although you do hear this music track, which is, I think, unique to this scene. And to me, I think this is a really interesting metaphor because you're acting a role right now. You choose to sit down, you choose to be the same as everyone else around you, but the movie is meaningless. You don't get anything out of it. You don't get anything out of being here. And so interactions like this build up a sense of like emptiness and almost frustration, because you think there should be more to it, but there just isn't. It's like if you were really excited to go actually see a movie in real life, and you went into the cinema and it just didn't do anything for you. It's the same feeling. And then you just act like everyone else. You walk out, and you feel like you're playing a role. You didn't get anything out of that. And a lot of the interactions in this game are quite like that. I'm going to go to the next street in this direction, and we'll see what else there is to offer. Hopefully it's not too late. What is it? It's pretty late. Go into this building, which is kind of like, I don't really know because it's not explained, but it's like a casual fling. You can see there's another person on that bed, and I think time has passed a bit, so it suggests that they spent some time together, and then you just leave. There's no context, no reward, nothing like that. Right now it is definitely too late though, so you could go to the clothing store, which is around here. You could buy yourself a new trench coat, some sunglasses, make yourself look like Arnie. You could be a real Terminator looking assassin, but again, it doesn't do anything. It's a way of expression, but there's no lasting effect to it. Or you could just have your little angsty walk down the city street at night. Something appropriate for an assassin to be doing. If you keep going this way, you actually end up at an art museum. And so that's a place which becomes a bit plot significant later in the game. I'm not going to go there. It's dark. We'll go in here. It's 2 o'clock, which is not exactly the time I'd planned out, but still good to see. This is such a cool background. And just watch it scroll. How cool is that? You see the whole city, and it's in real time too. So you'll be able to see the sunrise at 6 o'clock. And if you come here in the day, in the afternoon, it changes in real time. The lights flicker on and off. It's so cool. And again, it's just kind of meaningless to our protagonists. So you get the sense like, does anything matter to this person? What do they think is important? They haven't expressed any emotion or anything. They haven't expressed any desires. You just get the sense that in their day-to-day life, whether it's going to a movie or going to a cafe or seeing a rooftop or going to the museum, whatever it is, it's not really significant to him. But in the combat sequences, it is. So you start to wonder about this character's motivations, how it feels to be in their shoes, and it's conveyed really interestingly through the mechanics. I'm going to quickly jump out of that. Then head back to the title screen. Oh, okay, you can't, but you need to have beaten the game. Once you beat the game, you unlock an option called work. In fact, I can do this. Just be right back in a cut. Okay, and we're back. So you unlock this option called work, and that's like a level select. You can pick out all the different levels of the game. You can change the difficulty. You can try taking on a level on insane if you really want. And I don't think there's no achievements on Switch, but if you do this on PC, there's achievements. You can really feel the difference on insane too. The way the enemies are generated and their behavior makes everything a lot more tense. Okay, so let's just head out. The level's called parking. I don't remember this one exactly. Okay, so it happens in a car. And I could swear this was our getaway car from a few scenes ago. So the chase begins. Okay, you can see the enemies are pulling their guns way earlier now. You've really got to be aware of that. Oh, I'm already dead. Huh. They also, I think in insane mode, they never miss. So if they ever get a chance to shoot at you, you're gone. You gotta be very, oh, see, there it is. You've gotta pick your risks in your battles as well as you can. I'm gonna try to see if I can get through this screen, let alone this stage. And we might just end it there, because I think I've shown what I want to show. People get a good sense of the game. If you're interested, please do check it out. Wow, how difficult. It's not a second to dawdle. You can't falter for a split second, otherwise you die. Gotta respect the rhythm of the combat too. Gotta know when to go fast, gotta know when to go slow. Oh. Okay. That's more distance than last time. I think this time this is gonna be the run. This is gonna be the run. I'll leave it there, but thank you for joining us. This has been Arrest of a Stone Buddha, available on Switch and on Steam. So it's a very interesting game. It's a bit niche, not for everybody. It takes its time to deliver its story, and it really challenges the player to think a bit more about what its themes are and how it communicates that. I've written a lot more at length about the story in a review. This has just been mostly a combat tutorial just to show how everything looks and feels. It's interesting, you know? It's got that vibe where if you're watching someone play, it looks like a really cool action film. The animations and the sprites are really, really well done, really kinetic, really expressive, and I think it nails what it's trying to do really well. Okay, so we'll just leave it there. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.